Hi, my name is Susan Spencer. I'm going to be presenting the effects of book clubs on increasing student engagement. The original problem is lack of engagement with assigned reading materials may be directly impacting reading scores on state standardized tests, as well as NWEA MAP tests. The end of the year test scores for Chester Middle School showed a continued struggle to keep up with state and district averages. This struggle can also be seen within the actual classrooms of Chester Middle School as teachers struggle to find ways to keep students engaged. And school data analysis has shown that those students that do truly take part in classroom activities and not only complete assignments but also actively engage in classroom discussions score significantly higher than those who choose to disengage. The data represented by these graphs shows not only the discrepancies of Chester Middle School in relations to Chester County School District and the state of South Carolina as a whole, but also the widening gap between the scores of Chester Middle School and the average of all middle schools in our state. Over the past 3 school years, the average percentage of the students scoring met or exceeding on state mandated testing by students at Chester Middle School is 31.4%, while that of other middle schools in South Carolina is 51.5%. While this aspect of the data is concerning, the fact that the gap between those meeting or exceeding for Chester Middle School and those doing the same across the state of South Carolina has widened from 19.9% to now 21.5%. Here's some literature research that I found. Shoemaker said a system of education that laid out practical ways that students' desires and abilities can become the focus of the classroom. Shoemaker also said allow students to have a voice in the choice of literary material, helping to create a system of education that laid out practical ways that students' desires and abilities can become the focus of the classroom. And another resource, Brusco said changes in societal values and increases in technology involvement in all aspects of life have created decreased attention spans in students. He mentions an attention decrease in learners from 75 seconds to now 46 seconds, which is very alarming. So to outline the action plan, I had a sampling method and description. The sample would be the accessible population consists of 6th to 8th grade students at Chester Middle School. All students are required to take the NWEA MAP assessment and reading 3 times per school year. You get results in the fall, and spring tests will be used for the study. 7th grade students will take part in the book club exercises, while 6th and 8th grade students will continue with traditional methods. There will be a large enough sample groups of those students doing book clubs and those who are not taking part. Simple random sampling will be used in the study. The research will be conducted through a quantitative study using the results from NWEA MAP reading fall test and the NWEA MAP reading spring test as the method for data collection. The sample technique used will be a simple random sampling. A random number generator will select 100 students. A sample of 100 students from each experimental and control group will be selected through a simple random sample, so each and every member of the population has an equal and independent chance of being selected. Collaborative efforts. The school librarian will collaborate with grade level teachers to analyze NWEA MAP scores for each student, place students in tiered groups, survey students on topic interest, and use grade level data and testing strategies to create guiding questions. Procedures. The study will divide 7th grade students into groups of 4 to 6 based on fall MAP reading scores. These groups will be given options of literature to choose for their group to work with. These pieces will be chosen based on the interest inventories from each student in the groups, as well as the Lexile range of the group. All students at Chester Middle School are required to take part in NWEA MAP testing 3 times during each academic year. The first test will establish a baseline data for group starting points. The mid-year test will allow teacher leaders to increase Lexile levels for each group, and the final of the 3 tests will show growth achieved. The validity. The NWEA MAP test is recognized throughout the United States as an instrument to identify areas of growth and need in students. This test is also used in the state of South Carolina as an indicator of students' potential growth on state standardized testing. Some ethical considerations. Final data will be reported as group data, focusing on growth as grade level instead of individually. At no time will a student name be used as an identifier. Parents must sign consent for students to be a part of the study. Permission must be obtained from district level administrations to conduct research. IEP and 504 accommodations must be met during the study, and students requiring oral accommodations will be used in audiobooks. The results. Data shows decrease in ELA scores at Chester Middle School and widening gaps of ELA achievement between Chester Middle and other middle schools in South Carolina. Increasing student engagement, particularly that which they experience with literature, will increase reading scores on the NWEA MAP test and in turn increase end-of-year scores on SC Ready exams. So what are we looking for? We're looking for increase in MAP reading scores for Chester Middle School students, correlation between increase in MAP scores and ELA scores on SC Ready tests, and a decrease in gap between Chester County scores and those of other middle schools in South Carolina. As I reflect on this, some changes maybe that I would make, ensuring that student growth is recognized throughout the process, moving from group to group based on growth and tier change, ensure that differentiated literary options are available in varying interest categories, following some 7th graders into their 8th grade school year to see continued growth. If growth is met, maybe start a new cohort with the rising 6th graders throughout their middle school years. Additional research, creating a cohort to follow these students throughout their high school career, researching the possible implementation of a social emotional learning curriculum with this group of 7th graders to foster positive self-reflection and strengthening intrinsic motivation.